Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show. This episode is brought to you by The Wellness Paradigm, a holistic health coaching company shifting the way that women understand and heal their bodies. Through bioenergetic testing, functional lab testing, and nutrition, we uncover what traditional approaches often overlook so you can stop guessing, start healing, and finally feel like yourself again. No more one size fits all protocols, just deep rooted healing, clarity, and confidence to feel incredible. It's time to shift the paradigm of women's health. Now, on to our show. And hello, Calandra.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited you're here too. And I think we're going to have a really beautiful conversation weaving some topics for not only entrepreneurs, because I know she works a lot with women and entrepreneurs, but just about how
Mhm.
to handle life and motherhood and all of these beautiful things. She's a beautiful, intuitive brand designer and business coach. She also homeschools and has got three little kiddos. And she helps visionary women create soul-aligned brands. So, Calandra, I'd love to understand a little bit more on like how you got into this world of coaching.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction. So, I started out sort of on accident. I didn't really have the intention to start my own business. I was working a 9 to 5 job. I had a great salary. I had dropped out of college, not really knowing what I wanted to do. And then I became a mom. And I think that's the tipping point for so many women is motherhood really drastically changes who you are.
Yep.
And I quickly decided while I was pregnant, but shortly after having my son, that I was not going to go back to a 9 to 5 job. I was not going to put myself through schooling. And I was going to just kind of pave my own path, not really knowing what that was going to look like and not having any sort of backup plan. Thankfully, at the time, my husband was our primary income and I was stay-at-home mom, but with a newborn and this crazy idea that I was going to have an online business. And it started out in health coaching and network marketing, but very quickly transitioned into me just falling in love with the business aspect and falling in love with more specifically branding. It was really like the container or the umbrella that allowed me to pivot, and I'm a manifesting generator in human design, which I know we'll talk about. So I very quickly learned that the way that I work in the world is to constantly be evolving and constantly be changing my mind. And my business allowed me to do that. So it was really this beautiful blend of, yes, a means to an end and figuring it out along the way, but also just being an outlet for my creativity and an outlet for things that let me up and allowed me to be passionate.
Yeah, many of my podcast episodes start with, and then I became
But
a
I was
mother.
a mom.
And it's so true. But you mentioned something that I'd love to tap on because human design is something that you kind of sets you apart a little bit. And I know my mind was blown when I understood human design a little bit more. So for somebody that's maybe new to human design, can you describe a little bit more on like, what it is, but also why it would be important for not only business owners, but just like mom's life, women in general?
Yeah, human design. I got bit by the human design bug very early on in my entrepreneurial journey, which I'm really grateful for because at the time I was really trying to figure out, like, cool, I want to show up and make money, but how am I going to do that? What's that going to look like? And it was a resource for me to be able to understand my identity in a much clearer way. And I had taken every personality test under the sun, Myers-Briggs, all of those. And this was the first thing that I came across that made sense to me because it did have so much variety. There's multiple systems that come into play when you're understanding your human design, and it looks at every area of who you are and how you be in the world. So it wasn't just a here's your personality. It was like here's how you are best digesting your food. Here's how you can put yourself in the best environment. Here are the things and the unique gifts that you have that you bring to the table. And when we're looking at business specifically and building a brand, we have to understand what sets us apart. And I think a lot of times for women specifically, we're so conditioned to be a certain way, or we were raised a certain way. We have society's standards in our mind, and we think we have to be somebody that we actually aren't. And so that was something that allowed me to kind of peel back the layers, if you will, of understanding my identity, which then translated into my life, my relationships, my business, and everything else. So it was just a really beautiful tool to lean on in addition to some of the other work that I was doing.
Yeah. Now, how do you blend that in with your clients?
Yeah, I really take a holistic approach to business. I started out doing just done for you services. I started after leaving the health coaching world, I leaned into being a virtual assistant and just like a task doer. But I saw that there was this piece that was missing when it came to building a business. A lot of women were skipping over the foundational steps of understanding what your values are, how you want to show up and share your mission, how you're positioning your brand, how you can create authority and trust in your audience, and how you can structure your business in the day to day so that you don't burn yourself out, so that you don't find yourself misaligned. So the human design component is really at that foundational level where we look at your chart and we look at understanding who you are as a human, what your soul is here to do, and then we take the strategic business mind and really bring that full circle.
Have you had any like aha moments from clients where they like have no idea and about human design? They're like, oh my God, light bulb moment makes so much sense.
Totally. Yeah, it's really interesting. One of my best friends, partners in business, we have something that we're working on together that will be launched in the future relating to human design. But when she and I first met, she was a therapist and she had no idea that human design exists. And I was the person who was just like badgering her, constantly saying, you should look into this. You should look up your chart. And when she did, she found out she was a projector and went down that rabbit hole of what does that mean? What does that look like for me? It gave her such incredible permission because
Mhm.
she had been in this role of like trying to adhere to what her path was supposed to be. And
Mhm.
since then, she has become a human design coach and created so much success in really true alignment for herself, not
Mhm.
just because she has to. And that was probably like the set off point for me where I was like, everybody needs to have human design in their life and in their business.
Oh, that's so funny. I feel like learning about this, just like myself too, it's a rabbit hole. It is a rabbit hole that you go down.
It is, and there's so many layers to it, and there's no right or wrong answer. So I really always tell my clients and people that I work with that like, yes, it's a tool and it's a resource, but it's also not the rule book. Like it's going to help you and guide you, and there are external factors that you get to navigate as well. So it's not one of those like right or wrong, let's lean into the only way that you can do things, but giving you permission slip to do things in a more natural way.
Yeah, I like that because I feel like sometimes with human design, it like puts people in a box. And they're like,
Hmm.
well, I can't do this because I am a
Yeah.
projector or I
Yeah,
am
I'm
a
a projector.
homemaker.
I can only work 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's not really how it works. Uh,
exactly.
maybe like in a very short way, although could be like 2 hours long, I'm sure. But like,
Hmm.
what do you see with the main sorts of human designs and how, especially maybe entrepreneurs who are building their brand, how
Hmm.
they kind of like, what are one or two tips that you would give them if they fall into one of these, human designs?
Yeah, so in human design, there are 5 types. And even though I don't label myself as a human design coach, I've learned enough through my own experience to really understand through my experience and clients' experiences what is going to be kind of a foundational guide. And within those 5 types, you have your sacrals and your non-sacral beings. Now, I'm a manifesting generator. I am a sacral being. I have an endless amount of energy and renewed resources for my energy, which works in my favor in a lot of ways and also can be detrimental in a lot of ways. So, anytime I'm working with a client, that's kind of the first place to be looking at. If you're a projector or a manifester and you're non sacral, then you have to be mindful of the fact that you do have an energetic cap where you have to be mindful of how you're going to refill your cup so that you're not putting yourself in burnout. And we live in a society where we're constantly being told to just go, go, go and do, do, do. And business asks that of us. But it's really a good checkpoint to say, like, am I in alignment with how I need to show up in the world? And if not, what can I tweak on the back end, on the day to day to make that more sustainable?
Yeah, that's interesting. An energetic cap. And that's an interesting way of saying it. Now,
Hmm.
burnout, right? Let's tap on this.
Yeah, the buzzword that everybody knows about deals with.
Yep. And I could go down the science rabbit hole of what burnout actually is on a physiological level, but what do you see,
Mhm.
particularly, I mean, moms who have businesses, I see a lot of it. There's just, it's like burnout central.
Yeah.
Um, how do you help guide entrepreneurs who are wanting to build and scale their business into feeling more aligned with, their human design and their being, but also not reach a level of burnout?
Yeah, I think that one thing that I love to do and kind of lead by example with is keeping things as simple as they can be. And as somebody who is a manifesting generator and is constantly creating new ideas and wanting to do new things, that can be really hard to rein in a little bit. But I've found that keeping things simple, both from a business and lifestyle perspective, allows you to have a compass in your day to day that allows you to grow into the growing and scaling phase without finding yourself in burnout. And that can look like so many different things. But for moms specifically, and like in my own experience, the one thing that you absolutely need, and you and I talked about this before the podcast started, is some level of support, whether that is having a nanny, or it's having a coach, or it's having a house cleaner, or you have your mom watch your kids on the weekends. But really just understanding in the day to day what your bandwidth is, what you are going to find the most joy in, what you're going to really find alignment in, and then leading every moment in that simplified process of does this light me up? Does this bring me joy? Yes or no. And for me, being a sacral and a Manny Gen, the yes or no questions are exactly how I guide myself. That's a little bit different for every person and every type, but really checking into your authority and what is allowing you to see, like, okay, if I am a manifesting generator, I'm leaning into satisfaction. If I feel satisfied at the end of the day, I feel like I've accomplished things, I'm happy with what I did in that day, then I'm in alignment. But if I'm feeling frustrated, if I'm just like wanting to smash things and throw a toddler temper tantrum like my 3-year-old does, then there's probably some indication there that you have to simplify or make an adjustment. So I think as business owners, we wear so many hats. And as women, whether you are in a career or running your own business, we have so much on our plates. And it's really looking at the top priorities and understanding how you can simplify those.
Simplifying.
Simplify.
It sounds so simple.
Right. And it's one of those things, it's like, yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, and let's go down this rabbit hole a little because I know even for myself, like I would love to simplify things, but it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't feel that simple.
Mm-hmm.
And we tend to overcomplicate things when they don't need to be. Um,
Totally.
but what would be just a few things that you would guide somebody on if they were feeling like they wanted to simplify, didn't know how, and felt overwhelmed?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me give you a couple different examples because this can be in every area, right? It can be like you need to simplify your business. Okay, let's look at your offers. You have 10 offers that you're trying to share at one time. And I'm speaking from total experience here. And you're feeling burnt out, or you're feeling overwhelmed, and you're feeling like you're spinning your wheels, or your marketing's not landing, it's probably because you have too many offers that you're focused on at any given time. Let's simplify, let's scale that back to your signature offer, your signature lead magnet, the thing that is going to be the most lucrative, but also the most fulfilling. Another example, your life, your like day to day being as a woman, simplifying your meals, simplifying your wardrobe. We make so many decisions in a day for ourselves, but also for like everybody else. How can you simplify that in the sense of, I know what's for breakfast every morning. On Tuesdays, we have tofu scramble. Like giving yourself a reduced mental load
Mhm.
so that you can, one, turn things into systems that work really well for you and your family and your loved ones, your business as well. And two, allow yourself the adaptability and the space to pivot, right? So like for me, I go through seasons where I am wanting to be really active, intentionally exercising. So part of my simplification is to schedule in, I know that on Thursday afternoons I go for a run. and I have childcare. That's like a really simple thing. But when you compound those little pieces, or for example, on Tuesdays, I know that our nanny comes from 2:30 to 3:30. That's my time to batch create content.
Mm.
Really simple task, but allows me to set myself up for success in the rest of the week.
Having help when you're trying to create content is very helpful.
So there's no toddler screaming in the background. Nobody needs a snack.
Mm. Mine's always needing a snack and
I
screams in
mean,
the background, but
my
I'm just
my children's grocery budget is probably our number one expense, so I get it.
100%, especially somebody that tries to eat like organic grass fed. Oh my God.
Mhm. Yes.
Um, no, I like that though, because working even with clients in the health world, we overcomplicate it. Social media is so loud. It is so
Mhm.
loud. And I mean, I know for myself, I take a step back because it's almost like you feel like you're not doing enough and you need to be
Totally.
doing different things or more things. And it's not the case. Sometimes pulling back and simplifying. I love that you mentioned even meals, like predictable
Mhm.
meals, predictable just takes that mental load. I think, is it Steve Jobs? Who is it that wears the same? Do you know what I'm talking about? He wears the same.
Yes, it might be Steve Jobs. That's exactly like the reference that I was thinking of. It's like we make decisions on our clothes, on our accessories, on everything that we put on our bodies, put in our bodies all day long. That's overwhelming.
It is. It is, especially as a postpartum mom where nothing fits, but that's a different
Yes.
topic.
Let's not even go down the gene rabbit hole because
Oh, girl. I've been on that train trying to pack for a trip and nothing fits. But yeah, I mean, gosh, I'd love to just wear a white or black t-shirt. That's my
that's pretty much all I wear. Speaking to simplification, you'll almost always see me wearing a black shirt. Like almost always.
but it's
Same three pairs of earrings.
love that.
Yep.
Love that.
Simple. Simplify.
It is pretty amazing, even I when I deal with clients with like, weight loss or hormones or gut health, it's like, no, give me the supplement that's gonna work for me. It's like, no, no, no. How about we simplify, take
Hmm.
some stress off the body, and
Hmm.
then magically things start getting better.
Yeah.
It's incredible how simple things will move the body and the brain and the brand, in your instance, in the right direction, right?
Yeah. Well, speaking to, the way that you are being in the world, all of these things come into play. And when women come to me with needing help with branding and marketing and visibility, there is that foundational level of how are you showing up in the world? Are you showing up burnt out? Are you showing up overwhelmed? Are you showing up feeling scattered? Or have you been able to really create the foundation, the simple foundation? And that's where I had to like learn the hard way because I was trying to do everything and follow every strategy and create every funnel and webinar and what have you. And then I peeled it back to like my one signature offer, the one way that I showed up, my appearance, even. Like, this is my signature look. It has been that way for a really long time, aside from having purple hair in like 2017. But
I
for
love
the most
that.
part, like things are really predictable. And when you have predictability, you have stability. You have something that you feel like you can rely on. And when you know that it's you that you're relying on, it gives you that sense of control. And I think a lot of us are craving that, especially in like an uncertain world that we live in. Being able to know that like you are the person that's going to move your path forward in a positive way. And simplifying that just makes that a bit more attainable.
If you had a little bit of words of advice for somebody that's building a brand, wanting to scale it, wanting to feel in alignment, um,
Mhm.
what would be one or two of your go-to tips?
Yeah, I think that I always speak to these two things when it comes to branding. Your energetics, the way that you're showing up, the way that you're feeling, the way that you're translating who you are. This is the identity work. The human design comes into play with that, but so many other pieces too, your storytelling, your messaging. Focusing on the energetics, how you're showing up and making people feel, how people are perceiving you, and how you feel about the way that you're showing up in the world. And then number two, pairing that with with strategy. So making sure that everything that you are doing is thought out, is intentional, has an end goal, and breaking those steps down and reverse engineering some of that so that you aren't feeling scattered or overwhelmed and you have a clear path forward. That might look like testing and trying things out, but it gives you an anchor point to really understand, okay, this is the strategy that I'm using. Let's see how this is working and then refine from there. So everything in branding really comes down to the energy and the strategy.
Love that. And it's like that is so important because as somebody that has been around the block with many different mentors in the entrepreneurial world, it's like people are either very strategy, very masculine driven, or very energetic,
Mm-hmm.
or in the feminine flow, and it's like you need both. You
Yes.
you know, you
You can't
can't
just manifest success because you wrote it on paper.
100%. But then I see the other world of just like too much masculine strategy energy and it
Mm.
it leads to burnout. Um, and so this blend is really beautiful. I even do this with my, clients too. It's like blending this, almost masculine and feminine kind of
Mhm.
energy. It's like energy, obviously in my bioenergetics world, but also like physical strategy with, nutrition and lifestyle. It's like we can't just think
You
our
can
way out of all
one
of
or the other, yeah.
Yeah, so I love that blend. If people wanted to learn a little bit more about what you do or connect with you specifically, what where can they find you, and also what sort of offers do you have?
Yeah, so in this season, I'm really leading with a hybrid, which is something that I'm not seeing in the online space and I know is missing from the online space. I'm really passionate about it right now because I've been a service provider for nearly a decade, and women are always coming to me still needing more clarity, still needing more direction, or they think that they're ready to have a website done, but they actually haven't even figured out their brand messaging or their ideal audience. So the hybrid that I am sharing now with so much excitement is blending together coaching and done for you service. So in my container magnetic lens, that's exactly what we're doing in 3 months is gaining that clarity, that forward direction and the momentum and having the right hand support, being able to hand things off to me in your business. In a single VIP day where we create your landing pages or your funnels, your marketing materials, all of that stuff that you actually need. And most women don't naturally find themselves in that zone of genius. So that and everything else that I offer and have been offering is on my website, calandramartin.com. You'll find me on Instagram, Facebook, all the places really, but those are my two primary places.
Awesome. Well, I will put her contact information below, her website, Instagram, Facebook, so you guys can go connect with her, reach out. And Calandra, thank you so much for coming on here, sharing your wisdom. And listeners, thank you for being here. Always appreciate you. And we'll catch you guys on the next show.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.